What's wrong? Go sign it. Go sign your thing. Sign your thing. Matt, sign the banners. Sign it. Matt, did you do it? Sign it? All right. You look nervous. Good night going, everybody. Well, you know what? I said we keep this party going. Instead, I'm going to get my trash off these, and I'm going to pull this away because we don't need this. Because there's only 2 people coming out. 2 people who are fabulously talented, fabulous people, and by gosh, share a similar hair color. I'll tell you this much. One of them loves Mike Borja. The other one finds us all revolting. Ladies and gentlemen, Ruth Donald and Felicia Day. How are you, ladies?
Good. I really like that song, y'all.
Oh, good. Felicia likes it. We were worried.
That's a miracle.
So passive aggressive with me. I can't. There's not a word that can come out of your mouth that I believe. I worry you.
So you know Rob.
So you're such a pretty man, but I don't believe you're like
You really were
trickster
worried.
God.
I'm not.
Right here.
I'm just God. He's the trickster.
You're like a born Loki. You really are.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Bad casting on my part.
Are you here?
No,
Okay.
only emotionally.
What's up?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm good.
Ruth, this really screws up your ability to hand out stolen goods, having somebody else on the...
It does. I'm too embarrassed to do in front of Felicia.
Yeah, because it's a crime. And it would be over international waters.
I'll save the tackiness for tomorrow.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen,
Trying to be classy today.
Felicia and Ruth.
I was talking to Ruth earlier, and I was like, hey, we have a panel together, because I just got here, and she was like, oh no, and then she was scanning on her phone. It was I was like, oh, did you just do a panel with Brianna? And she was like, no, this is last year's schedule.
I googled the creation email for my schedule for VanCon, and I took a screenshot of my schedule.
But it was clearly not the right year, and yet you opened it up to look at it again. So like, this is
I'm not ready to do a panel with you. It's not my itinerary.
and you were like, yeah, I looked at this earlier and it was wrong then too. Like, was it going to change?
I was like, you were picking me up at 11, and I was like, I'm not ready yet.
I demanded that she erase it from her phone. I just demanded. I was like, I need to watch you erase this.
I deleted it.
Well, I'm so happy to be here in Vancouver.
This was one of my first ever conventions, ever.
Really?
Ever. 4 years ago.
Wow. Were we 4 years? Oh, no, I was here, I think season 10 I came, because I was already working.
It would have been 11 by the time I got
Oh,
here.
okay, I was dead by then. Sorry, spoiler alert.
That lady over there hadn't seen it yet.
Oh boy, what are they doing? They thought this was a Riverdale convention. Where's Cole Sprouse? Where's Miss Sprouse? I had a really interesting conversation with Cole, the guy from Riverdale. Not that you guys care about this, but he's such a cute... I didn't really know who he was. I was like, oh, that kid's on Riverdale, and yet he kept getting mobbed by children, but really it was their moms that was mobbing him for a picture, because it was acting code. And then finally, I was just like, hey, I'm just gonna pretend we're a couple. And I had my baby with him, and we just kind of had this whole, we were playing along that it was his baby, and we were married. And I had just met him, but it was a really fun time in the Alaska Airlines 68 terminal. And then we talked about anal fissures the whole time going to Vancouver. So that's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah, talking about weird. I've got a self-autographed
Oh, I was like,
book.
you did not need to bring my new book up here. I gave her a signed copy of my new book, which is coming out next month.
And it says, it's called Embrace Your Weird, so I'm just going to do this.
Aww.
And embrace it. So I am weird too.
It is. I signed it to you. I said, Fire Goddess, I hope this ignites the creativity inside of you. Yeah, I'm corny when I sign my book, because it's like a real
Corny?
thing,
I just
right?
thought that was what you called me.
Oh, Fire Goddess? Only when I'm really drunk.
I like them for Vegas. We messaged about coordinating. We both wore sequins.
Oh yes!
We did not message today, but we
But we
both
did!
flowers.
Reverse flower friends! Look at that! You're like the light and I'm the
You're
dark.
like the camouflage version of me.
The camo? I am, that's the Charlie. And you're the Rowena. Like, Rowena would not be caught dead in camo, right? Like, she wouldn't.
It'd be sequined if it was. It would be black sequins giving it depth.
I'm pretty sure you can get that a hot topic.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Advanced uncorrected proofs. You're like fuck off, don't do this, and you swear in it and stuff.
No, I do not. No, what?
Oh.
Uncorrected proofs. Oh, me. Oh, you mean like we took all the swears out? This is the the unedited one. Okay, yes. This is the X-rated version of my self-help book. Embrace your weird. I know, for a true story, actually, I was talking to my publisher, and it's really hard to make the bestseller list with a book that would be in the self-help category, right? And I was like, oh, why? It's like, well, it's a shorter list. There are only 5 books on that category. But also, there's been a walk on the top 3 in the category for like 132 weeks. I was like, what are these books? And it's like, How Not to Give a Fuck. That's the book. Anybody read those?
The subtle art of not
The
giving
subtle art of not giving a fuck. And so 3 of those books.
That's not a very subtle title.
Not at all.
That's my problem with that book immediately.
My book immediately, I'm like, I should have called it Embrace Your Fucking Weird. That'll be the unedited version.
Yeah.
So then Ruth will be the what is it, the red band? Red band?
Fire goddess.
You're the fire goddess, I'm just the red band.
Red band.
Yeah.
Embrace your fucking weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just rewrite that.
Top of the bestsellers. Sorry, I don't normally swear. My mum emails me if I swear during a panel when she sees it.
Are you kidding?
No.
First of all, your mom watches panels. My mom cannot watch my panels.
It's her way of like finding out what I'm actually doing in my life.
But you don't text her?
I do. Yeah, she's just like, oh, how, you know, she said to me last night at 10 o'clock at night, at 6 o'clock in the morning in Scotland, she was like, enjoy your convention this weekend. And I was like, how does she know? So she saw it on Instagram or Twitter.
It's uncomfortable when my mom watches my Twitter too, and you know I want to make a weird mom comment, and I'm like, I will catch hell.
Yeah.
I even did it in her replies one time, and she's like, excuse me.
I once did a picture where I was kind of sticking my tongue out, and I just got an email, and the title of the email was "Not You."
Moms.
Anyway, should we answer your question?
We should probably go. There's some people who are patiently waiting over here. Yeah, which side you go? You pick which side.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Oh, okay.
Well, since you've already been talking about your book, I read that you're doing a tour for your book. Do you know how many dates you're doing?
Yes, I just approved some flight lists, which made me cry a little bit because there were so many. There were 11 flights. I'm like, and then I tweeted something about like, hey, which one should I book all my points on, American or Delta? And then American started floating at me on Twitter, and then Delta didn't even respond. So I'm like, screw you, Delta. Even though Delta has Cheez-Its, and I love me some Cheez-Its, and you know, they only have peanuts on
I
American.
find that's always the best way to choose your flight. What is the most flirtatious airline with you?
Then I was like, I don't know if you're being a little forward. Like I was like, oh, you're trying too hard right now. Maybe I'll just go Delta.
Put your tray away.
Yes, so if you go to FeliciaDayBook.com, you can pre-order the book and you can find out the dates. I think they're going to be announced next week, but I think it's like 10 cities. So if you want to see me, except in Canada, you're probably going to be able to see me.
Oh, what did you drink?
I'm sorry. It's not my decision. I asked. What did the Canadians do? They're too nice. We know you'll be okay with it. Whereas if you skip Cincinnati, it's like, push.
Hello, what's your name? Where are you from? What do you want?
My name's Alana. I'm from Colorado. And I was wondering, I just started watching Nailed It. It is so funny on Netflix. And I saw Felicia's episode.
I'm a celebrity now.
You've always been a celebrity.
I was going to say.
Well, but this particular job made me a celebrity with the 5 to 8 year olds. I literally had friends calling me up and be like, hey, can you come to the house? Because finally I know somebody important. To my kid.
Oh, My question was, how do each of you think you would do if you were a contestant on that show? I know personally I'm terrible at cooking, but I don't know about cake decorating, so how do both of you think you would do?
I mean, okay, so I got a new cooker. You say oven, we say cooker. Yeah, right, you say oven. Got a new oven. I decided to cook for the first time. What? So I put a piece of pre-cooked pizza from Gelson's, but I put spinach on top, so that's cooking, right? So I set the timer for 8 minutes, and I went through to my bedroom, and I could smell a funny smell.
8 minutes under the broiler with a piece of...
No, this is not even big. I go back through, and there's smoke coming out of the cooker, and I'm like, it's a wooden house, right? And it's a gas cooker. And I'm like, and I'm opening, I can't see where the fire's coming from, I don't know what's going on, the pizza's black. It's getting worse and worse and worse, so I have a fire extinguisher, so I go, Fiona, my mum bought me and put it on the wall. It just came out, so I go to get the fire extinguisher, I can't get it to work.
Did you tweet Mom, how do I use this fire extinguisher?
Well, she'd already said to me, you should take a minute and read the instructions so you can do this.
I don't know how to use it either. I have one in the house and I would just...
Oh, surely they want to make it intuitive, that you just press a button.
It should just be a press the button situation.
It wasn't. So it's getting worse and worse. So I run out the house, I'm in my pyjama bottoms and bra in January, and I run to my neighbours. I'm dialing 911, and I'm like,
Did you take a pizza out of the oven?
No.
How do you survive on your own, Ruth? Did you not have... Let's just be clear. Did you not have an oven up to this point in your whole entire life?
This is where it gets
Did you have them removed from anywhere you lived
It gets
previously?
lost in translation, right? So I'm like, the fire brigade, the fire brigade! And they're like, ma'am, do you mean the fire service? I'm like, huh. My cooker's on fire, my cooker! And they're like, you mean your oven? And then he's like, is it your broiler? And I'm like, I don't know what broiler is. I'm like, I know what grill is. And it's like, no, it's a drawer at the bottom, which apparently in America is a heated thing. It's your broiler. And it's not where I'm from. And what happened was my mum had left all the paper instructions and gloves for the fire. So my neighbours, Nelson and Georgia, Nelson's in Beep, he's tall, skinny guy in Beep. He and his wife come run around, they've got a fire extinguisher, 3 fire engines. I've just moved in, 3 fire engines, fire brigade come up, we've got ladders up and everything. I could just see the embers of my house in my head falling onto my neighbour, my poor brand new neighbour's house. They did need the fire brigade to put it out. It was like toxic fumes and flames coming from the oven gloves.
How did the pizza taste?
It was a little too well done for my taste. So I don't know if you need me to answer your question.
I'm going to say a no on Ruth.
My neighbours though were like, I've lived here for 30 years and we've never had any drama. You're welcome.
Welcome to the neighborhood. They just basically got you a Blue Apron subscription, or just like a McDonald's gift
Started to arrive every week.
My answer would be I would not be very good, but I would be better than those people on that show. So I'll just say that, not being able to prove it at all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and don't feel too bad. I've burned Easy Mac before, so.
Okay, good. But did you burn your house down well? Wow. I need a chef. I need a private chef. That's all.
We all do. We all do, but you definitely need something. You just hook yourself up to like a food IV in the morning. I mean, is that how you are very skinny? Maybe you already do that.
I actually did my first vitamin IV this week.
Your what?
My first vitamin IV.
Vitamin.
Oh, vitamin. I'm sorry, that's a different word.
Vitamin. Smack you up on vitamin C.
Does it feel exciting? Was it a bee? Like one of the bee infusions?
So yeah, you can kind of taste it in your mouth.
Yeah, that's sort of like, ugh.
I wasn't sure. I mean, I was filming very late. I reckon it's the only reason I am so functioning though. Was it
Because you had a bee vitamin. Did you have someone come to give you an IV?
Or we go to this clinic. You do? That's the whole thing. They're so healthy in Vancouver. They have clinics for this stuff. And then I watched Pineapple Express. Have you seen that movie?
This is the kind of clinic we don't want to talk about right now. Hey, what's up?
I'm a huge fan of both of you. This is for Felicia.
Oh, thanks.
Being the fact that you're in two very large universes, the Whedonverse and the SPN fandom.
Yeah.
I'm also a huge Buffy fan, so and the Guild. Woo.
You have good taste. We've established you have good taste.
I have kind of a two-parter question. Okay. So the first one is, sorry for reading.
Your questions are 2 parts.
I mean, it's technically illegal, so she's going to arbitrate whether I answer the second question or not, okay?
What is the difference you find between the Whedonverse fandom and the Supernatural fandom? And second part, kind of tying both together, if Charlie was a Dr. Horrible, would she have stuck with Captain Hammer, platonically, but still, fighting the evil, or would she have gone to the side of Dr. Horrible,
Okay.
and wanting to rule everything, having to do some bad on the side?
Okay, she would have murdered Dr. Horrible.
Okay.
Done. She also would have tried to murder Captain Hammer because he's a jerk. She would not have gone with either of them. She might have dated Bad Horse. He's a horse. It would not have been a date. It would have just been like, a romp around the park. Maybe one of the groupie girls. She would have gone for, I don't know. So the difference between the Whedonverse and the Supernatural part, that's a really interesting question. I think at the time, I think there was less like, God, I feel like they're very similar, where the fandoms feel like a family and there's a lot to love and, every single character is kind of beloved. I think they were maybe, lately, especially now in the show, Supernatural feels more like the Whedonverse because there's a lot more women characters who are continuous and prominent and have a big fandom behind them. Whereas when I first started in season 7, there were, I think, fewer female characters on the show. And so that kind of leads a sort of parody. I think also the Whedonverse is known for like sort of female empowerment in a bigger way than the Supernatural verse, but Supernatural is like these sexy guys. Kind of has a little tweak. There's nothing wrong with that. But also the feeling of family, I think, weaves in both of them in the same way. So thank you. Thanks for that question.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
See, they know you can retain 2 questions at the same time.
I got rid of the first one really fast.
That's the way to do it, because I lose my own thread. I forget even what question I'm answering.
So how do you survive, you pretty thing? It's too much.
Oh, what's your name?
Hi,
Ruth?
I'm Riska from Amsterdam.
Oh,
And,
ooh. You know about infusions there, huh?
Sure.
Nothing.
Favorite thing to say from Amsterdam is super fine.
What is that? Super fine?
It means like cool. Yeah, super fine.
super fine?
Yeah, it's like super fine, but it actually, right? Super fine.
yeah, that's super fine.
Super fine.
My uncle was Dutch, and he taught me when I was 8 years old to say stomme klotzak, which is stupid bag of farmer's testicles.
That's what every uncle should teach his niece.
It's so smart. It's really cute.
So you part Dutch?
No, just it was about marriage. Yeah, I wish. What's your question?
Sorry.
See, I know you're rubbing off on me, fire goddess.
I was just wondering if you influenced your character and your character's stories in any way on Supernatural, and if not, if you still want to, and how?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes,
You just answered.
Yeah.
Yes, you've influenced it, and yes, you would want to do more of it.
Yes. I don't always get my own way though. Sometimes, like a small example would be in a costume fitting, I'll get something that I really like and I'll wear it like this. And the photographs I get something I don't like so much, I'm like... and I still don't get what I choose. But I try. No, I feel like I have. I feel like we've grown together, and I love that the writers have embraced perhaps some of the depth, and I love the evolution of Rowena towards being more human. Like, there's so much that has developed, and I'm so grateful for it. And it's interesting to me that sometimes I've had an idea in my mind about Rowena, and then somebody else writes it. So I don't know how that works. It's just the matrix, isn't it? It's just a creative matrix.
It's also like as a performer, I think the more you play a character, the more that the writers will see what you do well, and will be like, oh, I'm excited to see this character do this. I was really lucky in that Charlie, from day one, when I read the script, I was like, oh, it's me! Like, I want to play that character. I couldn't say no to that character, and I think, the writers who've written Charlie, when I came back as an alternate version, there were all different aspects where people were like, oh yeah, I wanted to see you do this, and I got to do all different things as her, and hopefully one day we'll get to revisit her and do some more fun things, either alternate or regular Charlie. So, I think as a performer, you sort of meld with the writer's vision on the page, and then in a series, that's what's great about series, you really get to explore different things that the writers and the producers see in you as a performer, and so it kind of congeals in this awesome kind of artistic morass.
It's true, and I feel it changes episode to episode. I've never done this many episodes of anything before, and like one writer, I kind of feel like I'm going this way, and then she kind of goes another corner, and so we're all kind of learning and evolving and growing together, and it's kind of wonderful in this show that you have the time to do that. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I really hope you get a chance.
We'll see.
With Rowena. We never ever got to do a road trip.
I know, we never got to do a road trip together. I feel like maybe...
That's a whole episode.
Can I just say maybe we had intercourse? But it wasn't good.
It was like awkward
It
after.
was really awkward, like, can we just forget about that? It was like to a Backstreet Boys song, we were just like, we were at a rest stop and we were bored. It was getting gross.
We missed 165, I don't know, what was on there.
No, it didn't happen. I gotta retcon everything I just said. Next question!
My question is do you guys have do you find you have other creative outlets besides acting and obviously for Felicia writing? And then if so, what are some of them?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope I can remember I have other things that I'm doing. I love, I've got this coach that I work with, and there are certain aspects of life that I'm interested in, and creating beauty is one of them. And it's something that I think that you can create beauty, whether it be in I was going to say a meal that you cook for someone. Which I don't do, but what I do is I put together little buffets of things that I've got, or like outfits, or doing my house, or making a present for someone. I feel like everything's creative in that way, and I'm interested in that with everything. I would love to write a book, or remember to buy a canvas and actually paint something. I would love to do more. I've been so busy doing supernatural and conventions that I feel like I've fallen off the wagon a bit. But Felicia,
hopefully you do my book. My book is full of exercises to sort of like figure out what you want to put your creative energy in.
So many things.
I know, dude, it's too many. Like, it's like, slow it down, Day, Ever since I had a baby, I'm like, you gotta give up a lot of these hobbies, but I can't, because I just have to always create. And I guess that's why I wrote this book, because I think it's so important for people to release creativity in the world and get over those procrastination and anxiety and all these things that block us from just expressing ourselves because they're not really organic to who we are. Because we all are kind of focused on the end result of our creativity. Like, will somebody like it? Will it be successful? Will I be able to survive on, doing this as a living? That's not the point. The point is to have continuous flow of expression through your body and out into the world, because you're the only person who can say what you can say. You're literally the only person.
If I sew a strap and I make an outfit different, and so it sounds maybe so shallow, but I feel like look what you've done today. You look fantastic as Rowena.
Yeah,
there's so many ways of being creative, and it's just so enjoyable. These small things, it just matters.
It's much more enjoyable than just consuming other people's stuff, which is fun. But yeah, you feel a little bit empty because every single person has the capacity to add to that or add their voice to the world in that way. So yeah, I love writing. I'm writing a couple of things that'll be out next year, hopefully, and I produce a lot of stuff, which is producing. I have a show that I'm producing called Woman World. It's an animated show that I'm working with Freeform on, and I'm working with this animator. And being a producer is kind of like bringing creativity out of other people and helping them sculpt it in a way. And I'm finding that really fun too. To the detriment of my acting, I probably should get back on that. But I can't ever just focus on one thing. And at a certain point, I'm just like, well, I guess I'll be that person. I'll be Jane of all trades. That's fine. It's okay to do that.
Amazing.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hey, Sarah.
Hi. My question was about your book, which everybody can buy and pre-order Felicia Day book.
Thanks, Sarah. I wish I should have pretended not to know you, huh? That was a plan?
But since you already answered it, could you tell us a more detailed rendition of the pink polo story?
Oh, my pink polo story? Okay, guys, I had the best. So I went to a convention last weekend, okay, and I got home really late at LAX, which is the scourge of all airports. And I got into the taxi line, and I was like fourth in line, but a bunch of people came, and there were eventually, and there was no taxi, so there was like 40 people in line. Finally, I'm like the second to last. The second taxi is gonna be mine. There's a guy in front of me. So this dude walks up. Older gentleman wearing a pink polo shirt, looks like he's a guy who'd be really comfortable on a Trump golf course, and I don't want to judge the guy. He walks up, and I'm like, God, this guy's the worst. I'm like, don't prejudge the way a person, he's probably a very nice person. Not. So he's kind of standing there, like, looking at his phone, and I'm like, and he talks to the attendant, and he's still standing there, and I'm like, sir, the end of the line is back here, behind all the children and other people who are waiting.
Yeah.
Ignores me, taxi pulls up, dude walks over, I'm getting so angry right now, walks over, leans, he gets in the cab, cuts in front of the guy in front of me, trying to hand the guy a 20 through the window and over the seat. I'm like, hell no. So I'm like, sir, I'm like chasing after him, sir, you just cut line, and then everybody starts I basically caused a riot, y'all. Taxi attendant guy, coordinator comes over, dude doesn't get out of the car. And I was like, is he an adult old person? No, because he's trying to hand a 20 over the seat to the driver, who then got out of the car and was like, I'm not driving. He finally, after sitting there for 30 seconds, got out of the car and everybody in line cheered, just like you. And I felt like an analogy to this world right now. We can just keep fighting together. Get that pink polo guy out of that fucking taxi. Thank you for letting me do a live performance of my taxi victory story. Amazing. It really happens. And but before, like a couple years ago, I would have been like, oh, but I would have been too scared to say anything. I would have. But now I'm just like, YOLO. Like, you're going down, pink polo. Yeah. Anyway, next question. Hey.
So the first time I watched Dr. Horrible, I was 8 years old because my dad loved it so much that he just had to show it to me.
Oh, it's a good thing I was 8 years old as well when I filmed that. Which is why you're still only 29 now.
But that movie has so many iconic one-liners and zingers and stuff that still gets stuck in my head that I say with my whole family today. So is there anything specific, like a favorite you have or something that sticks in your mind still?
I mean, I will always remember there's a scene that we filmed at a laundromat, and there was an extra there who kept telling Joss Whedon how to direct the scene. But we had nobody else to replace the guy, but then he taught us all how to do the Superman dance out in the parking lot. So I remember me and Neil and Nathan and Joss and all the other writers, Marissa and Jen, we were all just doing Superman! And we all felt so cool in this weird tiny parking lot from this laundromat. I was like, this is the pinnacle of filmmaking right now.
It actually is though, right? Doesn't it get better than that?
No, it doesn't. Like, what useless skill have you learned on a movie set that you'll always remember?
To look straight into the face of Jared Padalecki, feeding me the wrong lines and holding it together. Jared Padalecki straight in the groin as he's feeding me. To look Jared Padalecki in the eyes as he's fucking with me immensely as I'm trying to say my lines and keeping a straight face.
I mean, that's
what I've learned.
They never harassed me. I guess I wasn't as... You've been around a lot more than me, so I feel like I didn't get to the tipping point where they really were taking my takes.
This week, I'm pretty good at keeping a straight face,
yeah.
And I lost my shit. I was laughing. I started to panic that I couldn't stop, so I started to overheat, and then I started to sweat, and I started to cry. Laughing though, the tears running in my face, and Jess like, I can feel the heat coming on.
You're fire goddess.
I literally, so 3 people with fans, and literally, they're fanning me. This cameras are rolling. The fans have appeared, like people are dabbing my face and I'm laughing and then like Jared's like 5 years, it took us 5 years, but we have broken Ruth. Special skill or not, but like
It's a skill. It's a skill you'll never have to use on any other set ever.
which is a shame.
It's really a shame.
Because it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah,
either.
trial by fire, that's for sure.
Yeah, probably honestly one of the funniest weeks I've ever had filming. And
Oh, well, that's great. I can't
It's also
see the episode.
torture.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when else do you get to? It's only the 15th.
Be so unprofessional on a set.
It's only the 15th season.
In the
sometimes.
best way possible way. There's that because often when you're a guest star, especially, you're just always like, I can't screw this up. I can't screw this up. Like, just be perfect. And like your place, in a sense, is to not be like loose and fun. And you know, even the regulars on a show are just super, super serious. And that's what's amazing about Supernatural is that they infuse every single scene with life and creativity and fun. And that's very unusual on a television set when the stakes are so high. So thank goodness for them.
It's highly unusual. Jared does that a lot, and so does Jensen. You break any tension with humour.
Yeah,
With
absolutely.
comedy. But it was on Misha. And Misha, I don't know if you've seen my stuff on social media this week. He hasn't had a lot to say. And this was his like line. Like, on his one line, I'm like, I'm crying. But I'm sorry, Misha. And they're like, don't apologize to Misha. It was so, yeah, it was because I accidentally said a Latin word and I think I said vulva. And there was no coming back. There was no coming back.
Not more than them. It was not the right word. Was it risen vulva?
Oh no. It was close, but oh no.
They had to shut the set down, huh? Couple days.
Oh,
Amazing. Next question.
I just want to say you're both gorgeous gingers. And
Thank you.
if Rowena could teach Charlie a spell, what kind would it be? And if Charlie could teach Rowena a show, like which one would it be?
Oh. The only spell I ever remember is the one I can teach you. It's really simple. You go, Abi! And the person that's pissing you off flies across the room.
I could use that on Pink Polo Guy. Yeah, that was a good one.
And it's also because everything else is like Latin or African or Irish.
Yeah.
Abi is like really easy to remember.
That's pretty easy to remember.
It gets you out of a lot of dodgy situations. Abi!
I'll try to. I would teach Rowena all the X-Men because she would screw them up over and over again, and I would be so angry. I'm like, I would be upset.
Can you teach me one now? Teach me one.
I mean,
Try.
I could tell you the whole lore of the Dark Phoenix, which they screwed up in the movie really badly, right? That's my favorite run in any comic book is Joss Whedon's X-Men and the Dark Phoenix whole. I can't even go into it. But you would need to know Cyclops and how unappealing he is in every way. You would need to know Beast, how it would be fun to play with Beast, and we have to go into it. But anyway, I would really school her on the X-Men, and then we can then branch into the Marvel Universe because I'm not even familiar with the Eternals, and that they just unveiled that this morning, and it looks hot. I cannot wait to learn more about. Yeah.
Are you speaking English?
Next question.
Hi. So first off, I wanted to say thank you to Felicia for Charlie.
Thank
When
you.
I was coming out, she was just a lifeline for me. It was amazing.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you.
And since we know that Buffy is canonically a thing in Supernatural, yeah, we have the ghost facer saying WWBD, what would Buffy do? So it is a thing.
Oh, interesting.
And I wanted to know how would Charlie feel? So we know she freaked out when she found out about Leviathan. How would she feel if she found out that she was a slayer?
Charlie would just be like, duh.
Yeah, she is essentially.
I mean, I think at the end of Buffy, if it's canon, then every young girl, right, in the world would be a slayer, right? The end of Buffy was that every girl became a slayer. And then so every woman would be a slayer and girl would be a slayer in the Supernatural universe, right?
I mean, I'm a slayer. Right?
Yeah.
Kind of.
You would be a slayer. Well, you're not really from this realm, are you?
I just like slay things.
Okay, if you can do whatever you want, Ruth.
Am I?
She be a slayer?
Yeah.
Yes. You're a slayer.
I feel it in me.
No, you can murder someone. I totally believe you. I totally believe that. Don't make that gesture. It undermines everything.
Is there a gesture?
You just wanna, yeah. Oh, that's better. Just talk to Jared. He can show you how to punch. He had to intervene several times. He's like, no, do not hold a gun like that. And he'd do something badass. I'm like, can I be badass too?
I know what you mean. Like one time in the scene, wanted me to slap another woman, and I was like, I want to punch her gut. So I feel like I am a slayer.
Wow. Was that just real life or in a scene?
It was Tara Robin. She's lovely, but Rowena was slapping like another witch, and I was like, why? Because I'm a girl. Why am I slapping? I want to punch her.
Yeah. Did you end up punching her?
Yeah, John Showalter. Let me.
Okay, you looked way too excited when you said that. Anything you want to do. You can murder anybody the way you want to murder them. Okay? Yeah. Hey.
First, I just wanted to say I'm really glad you guys are here. And I thank you for being here. It's great to see you guys.
Thank you.
So nice to be here, isn't it? Like after all these years.
Oh my gosh, it's awesome. I haven't been to Vancouver in like almost a year, and I was walking along the streets. I went to Finch's Coffee Shop, which is my favorite place on the earth, and of course they were like just arbitrarily, we're going to open it at 11:30 today. I'm like, thank you, hipster coffee shop, for satisfying every single much of your cliche-dom. I appreciate you. So, no, I love it. I love Vancouver. I love being part of this family and doing, the conventions and everything.
You just reminded me, we bumped into each other in Medina, right?
That was a while ago. That was last year.
No, that was like the very beginning.
Oh, that was years ago, huh?
That was when we did the scene with you, me, and Misha. And
That's a long time ago. Yes, right before I...
Anyway, you had a question?
Did you?
Yeah, you guys kind of touched on this already, but in terms of the creative process, is there anything you guys do to like get in the zone or get inspired, like especially if you're like in funk or like even if you're not, just on like a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so you don't look at Jared Padalecki in the eye. Yeah, there's loads of things. I feel like for me, it's a daily thing. It's easy to go into funk any day. It's a daily practice, and I usually sounds really twee. It's really hard to be grateful for something and also in a funk at the same time. And I have this little practice where if I can even just for 17 seconds is the time it takes for the chemistry, the synapses. If you can continually feel grateful, just this chocolate croissant's delicious, this chocolate croissant's delicious. Make it crafty, just put that in a bag for me and send it to me specially. I've got this chocolate croissant that was sent to me. I'm honest, if you can be grateful for those 17 seconds, you can quiet down a lot of the other stuff that's going on enough to remember what it is you're trying to do. And I always, it's an actor thing, just this really simple actor thing in a scene, I'm like, I always have chosen one action, like, I want to fuck them up. Like, just remember that. Like, remember the one thing, if I'm getting worried about my words, or my choice, or what the director's saying, or what the writer, if I remember the one thing I want to own this person, or I just make it simple, come back to the one simple thing, try and cut out but everything else is just monkey mind, right? That's me.
That's awesome. I love that. Chocolate
croissants.
I know. Always appreciate chocolate croissants and fucking people up. I talk a lot about that in my book about how to get over creative humps, because most of the book is about like overcoming enemies to creativity, like procrastination and fear of failure and real life enemies and all these things, because it's a battle. Like creativity is kind of a battle, and we allow so many external things to kind of like tamp down our joyful urge to make things, right? And so I think once you can find, once you justify creativity in your life and it's important and it's not indulgent or something that doesn't need to be, it needs to be. And so when you're justified, you're more likely to be able to overcome a lot of those humps. For me, like when I sit down at the computer after a day of people throwing things at me and all these tasks, and like I gotta go here to get food, I gotta go here and fill this tax form out, I gotta do this audition, I gotta do all these things. We tend to put ourselves last, and in fact, we should be putting ourselves first in order to do all of it to the best of our ability. So I kind of just sit there and I just vomit onto the screen. I like write pages and pages of things that I'm worried about, and I dump everything, and I try to get all that emotion I can't do this, I'm not able to do this, I'm not good enough to do this, I can't do this because I'm too X, Y, and Z. And once you kind of shove all that out of your body, you can start with a clean slate to start to play and honor your inner creator. And so that's kind of what I do. You know, it can take 2 minutes, it can take 20, but if you just know that the work of dumping out all this stuff out of your body will help clear the way for you to be your best self.
That's in the artist's way, and also a psychologist once told me if everybody wrote down the stream of consciousness every day, like what you're doing, he would have a job. That's what he said. You need to get that stuff out.
You have to get it out, yeah. And the artist way was actually, it's in the back of my book. It's an inspiration for my book. It had a lot of spirituality in it. And it's sort of like it's a very old book, and I wanted to kind of do an updated, funnier version of it. So yeah, artist way is amazing. So I hope that answered your question.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I love what you said though, allowing it to be important. Because even now, it still feels like sometimes, it's a bit of a frivolous thing to say that you're a creative person at all, and it's not.
No, not at all. Yeah, I actually I don't have an assistant or anything, but I invent an assistant, and I make appointments with her throughout my week. Because if I do that, if I'm just like, oh yeah, Thursday morning I need to be writing, and if somebody calls and it's like, I need you to do something Thursday morning, I'm like, I'm not going to make my time a priority for myself. But if I think, I had something else to do for someone else that morning, I can't accommodate you, extra person, then I'm more likely to be like, no, I'm busy. So if I invent an alternate self, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm hanging out with, fake Ruth.
I have a really important meeting.
I have an important meeting with myself, but it's not really me. I don't know, it kind of helps me get over that. Yeah. I think they're cutting us off soon.
Should we do one more question?
Yeah, it was really quick. We could go on for hours.
Sure, we've had 45 minutes. Nope. Should we?
I'm as upset as you are.
Should we do one more
Because I
question?
was resting, and they woke me to say, you have to do the job. We pay you for it. No, not the ladies.
What? I guess we got to get off stage. You're not even,
I don't like that idea.
I'm sorry, all the people who are in line. It's
I'm
this
sorry.
guy's fault.
But I tell you something, this is a rare treat, because we're in Vancouver.
Space spitting on you right now.
I thought it was spitting on you. I felt like it was too close.
It was close. I was like, I could see the texture of his beard. Way too detailed. Oh, no. What'd you have for breakfast? Let me smell.
Fresh martinis. So, we never get this. This is great. We're in Vancouver. This is a rare pairing. It's a treat for the people of Vancouver. That's right. That's